the celebration for The Last of Us 3. Love that song. What the heck?
This is one of my favorite sections because I think that it achieves both the slice-of-life aspect of Jackson while also being a stark reminder of how dark the world that they live in really, really is. To attract attention and curiosity, one of the kids was supposed to make this adorable, messed up little clicker impression, and the others would giggle. We tried a version where if you got close enough, the kid might try and follow you a little before turning back. Since clickers are blind and move by echolocation, for this game of messed up tag, Ellie must close her eyes and listen for when the children give themselves away. The thought was that these kids are in relative safety. They still grow up with the dangers of clickers and runners, and all those lessons would embed themselves in the games that they play. When the festival got cut, they tried to preserve this moment and move it to the front of the game where the snowball fight is, as a tutorial. However, being in the headspace of a clicker doesn't really teach you how to deal with them. Eventually, it evolved, and they instead made the snowball fight, which was, I think, way more effective. For me, it's character illuminating that not only does Ellie know this game, she plays along. There's a familiarity with the kids that's really nice to see, especially because it's such a difference from the Ellie we see later, who has a sort of hollow normalcy that she's trying to get with JJ, but kind of fails.
Hey, Twitch, what's up, buddy?
The makeup artist is pretty simple. It's one of those little in-game scenes we peppered in to make it feel like Ellie had roots in the town. Hallie, the writer, mentioned that in her mind,
I like
an
this.
ex-girlfriend of Ellie's tattooed her arm to cover up her scar.
You can throw these balls at these
the only time you get to see that.
bottles.
We wanted to hint at it and allude to it and make it feel like there had been so much more that had been happening and so much more that Ellie threw away.
Yeah, that I don't know.
The makeup artist is pretty simple. It's one of those little in-game scenes we peppered in to make it feel like Ellie had roots in the town. Hallie, our writer, mentioned that in her mind, an ex-girlfriend of Ellie's tattooed her arm to cover up her scar. So we figured this might be the only time you get to see that. We wanted to hint at it and allude to it and make it feel like there had been so much more that had been happening and so much more that Ellie threw away.
Ah, this is interesting. One try. Yeah. Nothing in the glass. What?
We use our workbench a lot to make a lot of things that kill and maim and hurt people. Here, we had the silly idea of using the same feel, harkening back to the same animations, using the exact same UI to instead fix a drink. Like the workbench, you could pick your base and then you could add something to it. And at the time, we had some different reactions from Ellie based on how strong you chose to make the drink. Something we wanted to prototype though, before it got cut, was picking up some ingredients around to add, like a lime or maybe a bottle of someone's favorite whiskey or salt, like you were earning upgrades. We also toyed with having Ellie carry around the drink you made and occasionally sip it.
Yeah, they got the
Psyching
wrong.
herself
I don't
into
like
the
who
time
they
it
picked
didn't,
for
so
Ellie
she
for
nervous.
one. That ugly
It got
little
too late,
English
because
girl
she
that looks
kept
nothing like
losing it
her.
somewhere before she did
Why in the hell is
anything.
she Ellie?
So
They should have
it
made
would've
me
been more
Ellie.
trouble than it was worth.
Been about just as accurate. I didn't like her. The only one I really I only watched like one episode, but the Bill guy was all right. Bill was cool, but everybody else, I don't know, especially Ellie. I want to look at that stupid bitch. Yeah, what's up, Bo? That's pretty neat. I will say that. I want the commentary. Wait, I want this on? I did it, man. It's kind of a joke, but yeah.
In this second deleted level, which is an extended sequence
It's just
of sewers
the
in
second
Seattle.
game. All the stuff
This
they
comes
left
on the
out,
heels of where
or
Ellie
some other
goes
stuff.
into a building and she survives an attack by stalkers and gets thrown out of a window and gets swept away by the current. And then we cut this section that used to be there in the final game. Now you will get to play it. So this was a way to get a bit more interesting puzzles, interesting traversal, figure out how Ellie can navigate the sewers with the fighting current. Ultimately, with a lot of these levels and these sequences, the reason why we cut them were for pacing purposes. But here it is for you in this very kind of raw form that part of it will feel finished, parts of it will feel like assets are missing as far as audio, animation won't be final, but it's a glimpse into what a game looks like when it's months away from finishing. Enjoy.
Season 2. Yeah, I haven't even watched the first one. I watched one episode. They let you watch one for free. I think it was one of them. I watched the one where they, remember when Frank met Bill, and he was like cooking for him and stuff? Yeah, that's. I think Bill was going to like the Home Depot store or one of those hardware stores, getting supplies. He turned the power back on, the power grid.
Okay.
Bill was the man. What the heck? I don't remember this. So how do I get off this? Jesus. I don't remember that.
Fuck, Seattle. Okay. Where the hell am I?
The ladder acts as an immediate goal for the player, but being able to climb out is not going to be so easy. To keep levels interesting and engaging, we alternate between positive and negative values the player experiences. Here, it's a positive to have found a ladder, but then a negative to discover it's not the solution. But then another positive to identify the next short-term goal of the doorway. By alternating between these opposing values, we give players what they expect, but not how they expect it.
Okay. There's gotta be another way out.
Oh my god. I don't, this is crazy.
This level, internally known as Find Nora, was quite long in duration as we had to make Ellie traverse a far distance to the opposite side of downtown Seattle. The sewer section was originally longer than what we released the game with, approximately 10 minutes more. This was one of the few areas of the game that used water flow as part of a traversal puzzle. The player has to go upstream to use the current to get to the platform to reach the other side. We mostly cut this mechanic game-wide, however it remained in essence in the section swimming to the aquarium as Ellie, when you were avoiding the waves.
So I need to go to the middle. Yeah, they should have left this in.
When players reach the doorway and enter into the room, they're faced with a dead end. The real reason for this dead-end room is that on the reversal, when exiting back out of the doorway, players are
Yeah, I
faced with
downloaded this like a year ago when it
Like
came
the
out.
one
I
we
forgot that
never
I
see
even
when
had
we
it.
passed it on the way in.
Actually, I didn't. I reddownloaded it, but I already purchased it.
The
So I was like,
intention here
I never
being
even
the
messed with
option is
this
to go for the
much.
standard path in order to search for a way out.
What have we got here?
I don't remember the freaking controls. Flashlight. Okay. Okay. Oh shit.
Get me the hell out of here.
Throughout the rest of the level, we also used light to indicate to the player that they were heading in the right direction. At each turn, however, we blocked the direct route forward. Players would know that they just have to keep finding alternative paths, promoting those feelings of being desperate and trapped. We slowly introduced the player to consider climbing into smaller pipes and crouching in these tight spaces. This
Up
is
and
to
out.
slowly build up to and encourage
Keep going up and
the
out.
player to climb into such a small pipe that they'd have to be crawling on their stomach, which is something that the player previously may not have recognised as a playable space, let alone the desired route they need to take. We added a tiny space just to reward the player's exploration with a pickup item, and we made sure it was something that made sense that you'd find in this area. A canister and all the garbage that had been washed into the sewers from the surface. We loved the idea of making Ellie prone through a tiny dirty pipe in order to get out, as it was a great opportunity to use our prone mechanic.
Don't lose your
The
shit,
unique
Ellie.
camera setup was created to support crawling in these pipes, as the standard prone camera is much higher above the player. We also created custom collision in order for Ellie to manoeuvre in these tight spaces easily. Initially, the oblong collision capsule around her character caused issues crawling around corners. We put extra effort into the custom corner collision so the movement experience is as smooth as the main game. In order for the player to feel cramped, claustrophobic and desperate, we'd been enforcing the traversal mechanics that allow for a tight environment which promote these feelings. We introduced the use of the squeeze through so that we can keep the player feeling enclosed and tight, but without repeating the same geometry. Here we change from low ceilings with wider walls to high ceilings and tight walls to change up the spatial pacing and keep the level from repeating itself.
Shitty place to die.
Originally, we had the waterline much higher here, so players had to swim through this tight tunnel. However, from watching user test feedback, it was occasionally causing people to discount the route entirely and turn back on themselves. So to avoid any risk of this happening in the final game, we present a lower water level so the tunnel is easy to see and commit to using. Although this isn't as impactful without the prone swim, it's the better decision as it means a smooth experience for the player with no backtracking frustration. As we surface from the water and over the crest of the slope, we reveal what is further in this tunnel. A clicker that has sprouted and the fungus has grown on the sides of the pipe. It was great to see people who user tested this area becoming increasingly worried as we forced the player to squeeze past the fungus and inches away from the clicker's face, all the time not being sure whether the clicker might be alive or attack them. Although we aren't as cruel as to force a clicker attack in such close proximity, we do have a payoff for this moment. This clicker momentarily turned into Joel to show Ellie's PTSD from what happened to Joel at the start of the game. Ultimately, we decided to save this moment for the farm level, as it was more impactful there because it could become the centrepiece of that experience. Whereas in the sewers, we weren't able to make it as much of a narrative point and give it the breathing room and reaction time that it deserves, given the tight space.
That was pretty cool.
Oh shit!
For the final section, we eventually opened you out into a wider area as you traverse through such tight spaces leading up to this. So changing the environmental pacing makes it begin to feel like we're coming to the end of Ellie's ordeal. An earlier iteration used the current that we'd shown at the start for a slightly tougher traversal puzzle to conclude the sewers. The ladder was clearly visible from most of the area, but the player was faced with a fast-flowing torrent of water they couldn't cross. If the player attempted to jump into the water, they were not able to swim across the ladder due to the water's speed. But instead, they had to traverse the pipe running along the top of the space in order to get across the water.
I think I just came from here.
For the final section, we eventually opened you out into a wider area as you traverse through such tight spaces leading up to this. So changing the environmental pacing makes it begin to feel like we're coming to the end of Ellie's ordeal. An earlier iteration used the current that we'd shown at the start for a slightly tougher traversal puzzle to conclude the sewers. The ladder was clearly visible from most of the area, but the player was faced with a fast-flowing torrent of water they couldn't cross. If the player attempted to jump into the water, they were not able to swim across the ladder due to the water's speed. But instead, they had to traverse the pipe running along the top of the space in order to get across the water.
Fuck if I know what to do. Okay.
Using this pipe was retained in the iteration we shipped with, as it's the last of the extreme methods Ellie has to undergo in order to escape the sewers, and what she will go through in her pursuit of revenge. The last ladder climb is quite lengthy, and although we could have trimmed it down to a shorter climb, we liked how this last segment of the journey built anticipation for whether there was success at the top or not after all you've been through. Ultimately, the ladder exits out into the subway station, which is how it connects in the final game. Ellie then has to find her way to the hospital from here, crossing paths with the Scars for the first time.
For this third and final deleted level, what we call the boar hunt sequence, this was a sequence pretty late in the game. It was right after the whole Seattle Abby sequence where Abby spares Ellie. And then we wanted to come back into Ellie's story, but keep it a bit mysterious of how much time has passed, where is Ellie now? So we're coming in on Ellie, and she's following a trail of blood. And we wanted to mirror, in a way, the deer hunt sequence from the first game, but this time do it with a boar. And there's something with Ellie that now she can't let go of this violence. She's pursuing it, even against this innocent animal. This was another opportunity to show how the violence that Ellie has experienced, the violence that she witnessed being afflicted onto Joel, is still sticking with her. And she's still experiencing these PTSD moments. This was a sequence that was pretty far along and was cut pretty late in production. Parts of it are still really rough, but the gameplay, the building blocks were all there. I think you'll have fun to see, like, again, a rough, unfinished sequence that you can play. You can see all the way to the end, and including a cinematic that we end up cutting. And the remnants of the sequence ended up being mentioned in Ellie's journal. So this part of the story that we developed still made its way into the game as kind of optional stuff that you could read about, but here you get to experience it. So as a reminder, this is pretty rough, months away from being finished, but you get to see it now.
So the boar hunt was one of the hardest levels for me to work on. It was a huge challenge with the systems that we had, and we kept trying, but it never felt quite right. Originally, the level happened after the Jackson Festival, which also got cut, but before Farm. Once the festival got cut, it became the prologue to Farm. The intended experience is that we jump forward in time after the fight with Abby in the theater. We don't know where Dina is. We likely assume she's dead because she was just bleeding out. Ellie is alone. Her hair is short. So maybe this is the future or the present. And she's hunting. Hunting who? Abby still?
Where's the blood?
There's blood.
There it is.
In early iterations of the fight, it was more arena-like. The player slowly whittles down the boar's health. Ellie gets more visceral and more vicious. We get a little worried about her. As the boar gets weaker, more panicked, more feral, and we start feeling sympathetic to the boar, was the hope. In all of these iterations, especially of these wider areas, it required custom AI and scripting to make sure it continued to feel organic as an animal, but we really needed it to do specific stuff. It needed to be able to close distances really, really quickly. It needed to charge to attack, but we wanted the feeling of hunting, so we needed to track it down from afar. And we also needed to discourage the player from attacking the boar when it's that close, or it would kind of turn into this melee kerfuffle. How do we do this in our world while keeping the boar believable? We must have gone through 5 or 6 iterations of the boar fight and all, and every single time it changed pretty drastically. We split it into clear phases, where one was like all long range. We tried another where you're getting close and you get the jump on it quite literally. You're jumping off of a rock to attack it. And then finally, we tried a bunch where you almost sort of go around a bunch of trailers and try and wrestle it. We uncovered after some time that taking down a boar over several phases felt very laborious and a little dramatic.
How do I get in
It
there?
was comically long. It felt too boss-like, a little too gamey. We decided to cut the first few phases, and we opted for a cold open after the boar had already been hurt off-screen. So that allowed us to focus on feeling like we're closing in on prey and to introduce the boar when it was at its most dangerous. Already hurt, already feral, much too close for comfort. And so the thinking was it would bring us more into Ellie's mindset. Is this really hunting for food, or is she hunting for some other reason? The gas station was built to highlight the boar's destructiveness. Since it's cramped, the boar feels larger. We also feel trapped with it, though perhaps it's trapped with us. When it charges, it gets to us quickly, so we must be on our toes. This made it more aligned with Ellie's sort of hunting for trouble mindset. Listening became more important, as well as moving around slowly so it didn't hear you. Could you spot it before it saw or heard you? And could you get a shot off quickly enough so you could dodge out of the way? Or is the shot worth the cost?
Damn.
At the end of the fight, everything would slightly be in shambles. The boar would burst through the back, and Ellie would follow it and finally enact revenge.
Jesus Christ. That shit's hard.
Got you.
Do I have another gun? No.
It's over.
Yeah, I think I'll be dead by now. Come on.
Nowhere to run.
I messed it up.
The boar kill was supposed to be anything but glorious.
Oh man. Damn. It's about over. I didn't show the very beginning though, so let's show this.
You're about to play an unfinished level from The Last of Us Part 2. The reason we added this section is there are a few sequences, and we picked the 3 of the best ones, that we cut from the game. You know, often we build a game that's much
Just doing something. Okay.
bigger than what ends up being the final product. They were months away from being finished, but we wanted to give you an insight of what it's like when we built the game, because often we have this whole thing constructed and it doesn't have final art or audio or dialogue. And here you get to see the building blocks of what it's like when we first string a bunch of these levels together. This is the intro to the first deleted level, and this one is the roughest of the three. We wanted to show more of how Jackson operates. So this is the festival where Ellie ultimately kisses Dina. This sequence would have come very late in the game as a flashback sequence while you're in the farm with Dina. And we wanted to show what is the rest of Jackson doing, and wanted to put on the stick, make it interactive. So you could see when you're outside, there are all these almost like carnival games that you can play. You could mix drinks, you could play with these kids that are playing a sort of clicker Marco Polo, sit down and listen to conversations. And all the different interactions were first or second pass, very, very early passes. The building blocks are there, but nothing is final. And ultimately, while we were very excited by this sequence, it's pretty fun and lighthearted. It just slowed things too much as we're barreling towards the end of the story at this point. So again, reminder, rough, missing audio, missing animation, missing gameplay tweaks, missing dialogue, but pretty representative of what it would have been. So enjoy.
Originally, this level was going to transition us to farm. We would go all the way through to the dance, where Ellie and Dina share their first kiss. Then we would play through farm, and when Ellie plays the guitar at night, she would remember the Seth incident. So, the opening for this was a little tricky. We needed it to match at least a little what you might expect emotionally coming from prior beats, because we were already purposefully disorienting you in time and space. Remember, you just came from this huge fight. To jump straight into it would have been a little too jarring. After some back and forth, we rooted it in Ellie's nerves.
Oh, it's like a Chevy Cruise.
Theater. But this time, for a much more innocuous reason we'll find out later. She's nervous because she has a crush on Dina, who is the only reason why she's here at the dance. Something we really wanted to do was highlight the way their lives had turned upside down since she went down this path. We had this idea of recontextualizing all of our usual gameplay mechanics that were designed for really violent ends. The workbench, door bashes, throwable weapons, and even the infected, which is my personal favorite. Peppered throughout the level are moments of levity or shared history, all the while seeing how happy and mundane they all were before her huge revenge odyssey. It is not a festival without one of these throwing games. This one, of course, uses our throwable system where you're often chucking explosive things or stunning things, but for a more wholesome purpose, although some people take this game really seriously. A fun aspect of this is if you did well, you could win a toy here. Ellie would place it in her pocket. If you had done this, you'd find the toy with JJ, the baby, later back at the farm. When we cut this, the toy made it through anyway because it was so cute. It is the same one you see on the tractor at the farm. Ollie the elephant. This is one of my favorite sections because I think that it achieves both the slice of life aspect of Jackson while also being a stark reminder of how dark the world that they live in really, really is. To attract attention and curiosity, one of the kids was supposed to make this adorable, messed up little clicker impression and the others would giggle. We tried a version where if you got close enough, the kid might try to follow you a little before turning back. Since clickers are blind and move by echolocation, for this game of messed up tag, Ellie must close her eyes and listen for when the children give themselves away. The thought was that these kids are in relative safety. They still grow up with the dangers of clickers and runners, and all those lessons would embed themselves in the games that they play. When the festival got cut, they tried to preserve this moment and move it to the front of the game where the snowball fight is, as a tutorial. However, being in the headspace of a clicker doesn't really teach you how to deal with them. Eventually, it evolved, and they instead made the snowball fight, which was, I think, way more effective. For me, it's character illuminating that not only does Ellie know this game, she plays along. There's a familiarity with the kids that's really nice to see, especially because it's such a difference from the Ellie we see later, who has a sort of hollow normalcy that she's trying to get with JJ, but kind of fails. There's a hidden spot at the back that was just a bit of fun. It was highlighting Jackson's normalcy with something we would find in a real world. In the back, you would find teenagers finding some alone time with each other in a dark corner of a party. It was rewarding the player for peeking into a hidden corner, but ultimately redirecting them back to the festival. We also had versions of them smoking weed here, despite Maria's consternation, probably having gotten it from Eugene.
Pretty cool. Okay. Whoa. Across down weapon. These are the same controls. I guess so. I'm not gonna be good at this sometimes. Shit.
Right.
Any like different little missions you have to do, or I don't know what you call it. Different challenges.
Okay.
I think that's her. I'll go see what's up. Look, it's her!
What? Where? Ashley! Shit! Oh my god! You're fucked!
Yeah, I guess I am. Nope. Ah, you can actually come inside here. It's pretty cool.
You got it! Got you! Fucker!
Thought I had a fucking... I forget the buttons on this game. Fuck. Turn that light off.
There she is! By the car! Forward! Gotcha! I don't see her. Skip.
Kind of boring. That's probably why I didn't play this very long when I bought it. Yeah. Yeah, you know, paid $10 or something for the upgrade. Excuse me. It's R1 to swap weapons. No. Fuck they're talking about. Damn. How do I do this? Son of a bitch. Been a while. Can't remember how to health up. What the f... Here we go. I don't know what the fuck I did. Yeah, this is boring. I want to see if there's anything else. I wanted to go to the main menu. That's where I went. That's what I clicked on. Eh.
Hi, I'm Neil Druckmann, and I was the director and co-writer.
Hi, my name is Hallie Gross, and I was the co-writer and narrative lead.
I'm Ashley Johnson, and I play Ellie.
Hi, I'm Troy Baker, and I played Joel.
This whole scene came about because we were trying to figure out how do we recap the previous game just enough for people that haven't played it, or might not have been so many years they don't even remember it. So we thought, oh, Joel could confess to Tommy.
And this was, I don't know why I dug my heels in, and I was like, I do not agree with this. And I had such a problem with it because I felt like this was a secret that Joel was going to take to his grave, and he would just bear this sin. And it wasn't until we were on set, and I'm sitting across from Jeffrey, and I'm watching him just listen to Joel. And every take, we went deeper and got better, and more truth came out.
It's really small, but you're right, it's really powerful and intimate of this exchange between these brothers, of just how far they've come since he's rejoined Jackson.
Yeah. It's become one of my favorite scenes. The meticulousness of this task of fixing up a guitar. And I remember you saying specifically is like, you're really trying to get the grime out. And to me, how that mapped to what he's trying to do in this scene with this conversation is I'm just trying to get every last bit of dirt out.
In the original game, we didn't cut to a close-up of Joel and seeing like what was his emotional state coming into that operating room.
That look from Tommy.
What do you do?
I love this right here. I saved her. And we wanted some darkness around that statement of like, the implication is I did whatever I needed to do to get her out of there.
And the justification, you know, that comes from that.
That is the central question, right? And I think that opening the game on that line is so important because Joel really does believe he saved her. And that's the question for Ellie throughout the game of, did he?
I remember just so much work we did on this soundscape right here of just leaving you with that kind of uncomfortable feeling of it was a good thing, but there was definitely a lot of darkness around it. It's a great scene for Tommy as well. Again, now he has to carry the weight of this thing that his brother did. Right now he's not feeling great about it.
That's so. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
He's also a family guy, so on some level he gets it. And he gets what, obviously he knows what Joel has been through and why that decision was so important for him.
I told they just ran some tests.
There's something to me that hits me every time when Ellie rolls over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I caught it as much. I don't think I was aware of it. Like, Neil, you being a parent, you're more familiar with some of those gestures than I was, or I am now. Traveler will do this, where he will, when I put him to bed or whatever, and he's ready to go to sleep, or he needs to be alone with his own thoughts, he'll do that turn. And it never really hit me that that's what Ellie is doing, is just, okay, I'm done talking about this now. I just kind of want to be private in my own thoughts.
Which is also an interesting juxtaposition that's happening here, is we're getting to see the moment he was lying to her while he's confessing the truth to his brother. And the differences in those two relationships now. And it's, despite how much they've been through and how much Ellie has become an equal of sorts, he still sees her as his child. And if he has to lie to her to protect her, he will. It was important to get this final handoff of playing as Joel one last time as this beautiful sunset ride towards Jackson before we fully kind of hand off the baton to Ellie. worked so hard on these transitions to go from cutscene to gameplay. And it was just a change in tech that we had from the first game to the second game, where the first game, all the cinematics were pre-rendered. Now that they were real time, there was a lot of effort put into just these seamless transitions in and out of gameplay.
About what we were talking about earlier.
This is a great moment.
I can't say I'd have done different.
And you have to wonder, is Tommy telling the truth? Or does he know it's too late to do anything about it? And that's the best truth to put out there.
There's also something, it's just occurring to me now, but I think confessing to Tommy really speaks to sort of the themes of the game of how hard it is to be alone and to carry things alone.
Mm-hmm.
And even Joel can't do it at a certain point and needs to unload on Tommy. And so what it is for Ellie to isolate further and further and further and carry her secrets alone more and more and more.
There's her little house.
I discovered some people don't realize that her house is the
garage.
Exterior garage of Joel's house.
Look, she's drawing a deer. Oh, and you're hearing Sean James' song, which was the song we did for the teaser trailer.
Ellie?
Shout out to the environment team that had to build several different versions of this room, as Ellie has lived in it for longer and longer and got more and more of her items from the old world that she's obsessed with.
Lava lamp.
I love this moment of just like, hey, how do you...
Do you both remember when we did this scene live on stage, just for an audience of 100, 200 people? I forget exactly. Like Jeff Keighley set up this one night live, and I wrote the scene just for that. But in the back of my mind, I knew already this would be the opening for the second game.
Oh yeah, and that was... Some of that was streamed except for this scene. That was just for the audience.
We did not stream the scene.
There was this, I remember we got it, and then, as often happens, there's a team of people that kind of come up to you, and after you go, cut, best that one, that's a take we can go with, and people just kind of clouded around you, and there was a conversation that was happening, we were trying to figure out what it was, and I saw you do your, everything's okay, it's fine. And then afterwards you tell me this story that in Uncharted 3, the ship capsizing was one of the most resource-draining, almost game-breaking things that you guys had, one of the most ambitious set pieces you'd ever done. And then in the Left Behind DLC, the photo booth was one of the most resource-draining, almost game-breaking things. He goes, up until you decided to put your thumb in your belt loop.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so actually that's funny because you did that, Joel initially didn't have his shirt tucked in. But in order to honor, again, this little gesture that you did, redesigned his clothing. And the way we did clothing on this game is we actually sourced the actual material and scanned it. So we had to source the shirt, the pants, the belt, scan it, so we could do this one gesture that you did, which was like looping your thumb around your belt.
Jeez. My pad isn't working right. Oh, I'm not working right.
Writing standpoint, this was a tricky scene because we have to reestablish these characters and their relationship, but also show there's something hanging over them. That there's, we had to honor the ending of the first game, that moment of okay, of lie. That again, Ellie knows something is off, but she doesn't quite know how to deal with it or how to move past it. Right. So this scene has you see at the beginning she's trying to get rid of him, and then he wins her over by playing the song, and like she softens by the end of it. And it's interesting they talk about of like, you promised you would teach me how to play the guitar, and they're talking about like promises and oaths and the idea of keeping your promises, and we know this lie is hanging over them.
I love this opportunity this song gives Ellie to watch him.
Yeah.
Without confrontation.
And again, there's so much beautiful acting that you're doing here, Ashley. I know these compliments are making you uncomfortable, but it's like, look how much she's processing.
Yeah.
You could see it. You could feel it. And again, talking about when characters make eye contact versus not. It's like, only when he finishes does he finally allow himself to look up.
Barely.
Barely right there.
It's a very intimate thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been more nervous than I was in that scene playing that song.
Were you more or less nervous when you did it live?
For some reason, playing music live to me feels a little bit more at home. But also, I don't know if I fully understood what that song meant to you, Neil. And knowing what it was going to mean now to other people once they played the game. And now there was context to it. Now there was story.
They care about each other so much.
The lighting. Lighting is so gorgeous here. And this was the same pun we had when you both did it live.
Do you remember the joke?
And you could see the shift in Joel. Like that song has just shifted the relationship a little bit. It moved the needle.
Mm-hmm. He's standing up a little taller.
It's time consuming.
I love how much he's just trying to reach out to her on her terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He still got that in
Giving
him.
her space.
Yeah.
Still got that.
Yeah.
Good night, kiddo.
And this again, this writing is the same. It's like how this ended was the same as the live version, where you just play the low E. Well, I guess with the capo it wouldn't be an E, but and just let this ominous note linger. Interesting parallel. In Last of Us Part 1, Joel wakes up after the multi-year jump.
Was
To a knock at the door.
Was that an accident?
No, that was by design.
Sorry, I totally overslept. Just give me a minute. And I'll
Yeah, initially we had the whole dance and the kiss in the beginning, and then once we moved it to the end, we had to kind of, through exposition and dialogue, hint at what happened.
It was just Dina being Dina.
It's just Dina being Dina.
I was talking about your fight with Seth. Wait, you kissed Dina?
I love that scene kind of plays out like an awkward thing between them, as if they had kissed last night, which is really funny.
Yeah.
You know, it has this like kind of morning after feel, but it's like not about them, which is really charming.
Yeah, that's true.
This is so Ashley awkwardness right here.
I love it. TV awkward. Like, don't bring attention to something that I did, please.
It's kind of fucked up you did that.
Jesse's the coolest guy.
He
Look at
is.
him. He's like, he kissed his girl, and he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah. Ugh, so tired. Sure. Hey, is Joel up?
We got reports of infected out north. We sent him and Tommy out early to scout.
That sucks.
Yep. Can't imagine they got much sleep. Definitely not as much as you.
Shut up. I was just about to get up. I was.
You got everything?
Yes.
Heads up. You're the talk of the town this morning.
What?
Let me see if I got this right. You kissed Dina,
She kissed me.
which triggered Seth to call you a not-so-nice word.
Yep.
Then Joel decked him,
More of a push.
and then you got mad at Joel. That part confused me.
It was a strange night, man.
Sounds exciting. Maria wants a word with you.
Where is she?
The diner.
Is this about Seth?
No clue.
Just tell her you never saw me.
Excuse me?
Hey, so... we're okay, right?
You and me? Yeah, of course. Dina and I are done.
I know. It's just... I don't want you to think...
Ellie, we're cool. Promise.
Thanks. Hey, old timer. Yeah, get a good scratch.
Hi, Jesse.
Oh, hi. Want to grab some breakfast?
No. Where's Maria?
In the back.
Excuse me.
Oh, Seth.
Oh, Seth.
Yeah, remember this scene was I mean, so much of the story is about forgiveness and letting go of stuff, and how Ellie specifically struggles with that, and this was a pretty minor example of that.
Turns out I really struggle with it because I still hate this scene. I'm like, fuck that guy.
I know,
He's
me
trying.
too.
Look at him. He's
Doesn't work.
Steak sandwich. He's trying so hard.
Look how he wrapped it with a bow.
The way he starts with like, look.
Aw.
I'm like, yo, look you.
Yeah, don't looky hear me. Let's just.
Oh, now it's her fault.
Great job.
Yeah, this scene makes me so mad. Hey, I'm trying to apologize, you little bitch. You're like, what?
Made you some sandwiches.
Okay.
Your steak.
Thank you, Seth.
Didn't we discuss cutting Baguette sandwich because people had such a hard time understanding it at first?
Yeah, they kept hearing bacon sandwich.
Bacon sandwich.
Bigot sandwich was a
Bigot sandwich?
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
What you got there?
Bigot sandwiches.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Hallie, you wrote that, didn't you?
I don't know.
It just bigot sandwich feels
It does
V
feel very
Hallie
Hallie.
to me.
When you go out, I want you to trade off with Tommy and Joel. Those boys have been up for far too long.
Where do I meet them?
If you go up to the Northwest Lookout, they're scheduled to arrive later today. But watch yourself. There's too many sightings of infected recently.
Of course. I was gonna check out the creek trails. I'll need someone else to cover it.
Ellie, you know the creek trails?
Not really.
Dina's done it a bunch. How'd the two of them take it?
Well, that solves that. Ellie.
Where the hell are they? I'm like tired.
So,
Look, I don't know what's going on with you and Joel.
Maria,
Guy really cares about you. And I'm sure he didn't mean to.
we're fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry to pry. Be safe.
Thanks.
Yo, Dina, assignments.
Just give me a minute.
Oh, this is Dina's big intro.
Oh, here she comes. I'm Shannon Woodward. I play Dina. I had a really hard time hiding behind nothing here.
Well, that's the thing that's so hard about sometimes acting in these things is that you like the kids weren't there, and then we like later capture kids and kind of constructed all the pieces.
This is a me lean. I love to lead.
I just want to say sorry for running off last night. I actually really love this scene.
I totally get it. I felt bad.
I love the one-liners that you guys kind of riffed on when we were doing the combat stuff for the snowball fight.
Oh my god.
I still die laughing when I hear you guys insulting children.
And I think that was really, a lot of that was just my instinct.
Yes. Yeah. Your parents don't love you.
Yes. Yeah, and then I think eat snow, you
Eat
little...
snow.
No, I think you little shits. Yeah. Because I think you were like, eat snow, and then I said, eat snow, you little shit. I think it's like...
I love name-calling children.
What the fuck? I'm not even playing.
Interesting parallel is Ellie doesn't want to do any of this until she gets hit with a snowball, and then it's like, let's make these motherfuckers pay, which is, again, is a really lighthearted moment of what this whole story's about.
Better run, you little shit. Holy shit! Get to cover! Go! Go!
Gotcha!
We're on the board, suckers!
Eat that!
Fuck yeah!
Oh, you like that?
Look at that! Ow! Eat snow, you little shit!
On that kid.
Oh, I'm coming for you, Tiny.
In your face!
See you.
I'm gonna come over there and fight you, like, for real.
Oh, you better hide. Oh, eat snow. No fair.
Eat it, shrimps!
Hey.
How's it feel?
No. Get her. Help me.
You'll never get away with this! Get off of her, you monsters! All right, we actually have some work to do. Scram.
Man.
I guess I asked for that, huh? Yep.
Going to get off here. I didn't even plan on playing any of this, the regular game, but commentary's pretty cool. Maybe I'll play it again tomorrow.
Relieve Joel and Tommy.
I don't know.
Together. You're gonna like this route.
Yep, thanks for stopping in. And yep, getting tired. Adios.